Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Charlotte Flair doesn't give a damn what you think.
I'm going to tell you the real reason Frankie Kazarian left AEW.
We have major uncertainty over the WWE star's contract.
And a major update on AEW Fight Forever. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Let's kick things off by talking about Charlotte Flair.
She's back.
She's back and she's in the title feud.
Of course.
Which has understandably created some online discussion, shall we say.
That is very diplomatic, Andy
I'm
Murray.
a very diplomatic man. I should be a politician. Actually, I shouldn't. That would be awful. But, like, Charlotte Flair, people have opinions on Charlotte Flair, it's safe to say. And after a couple of days of people going, why is Charlotte in this feud with Asuka? Why is she getting a shot at the women's title? The new women's title after it was revamped and reintroduced on Friday this week.
Yeah.
Charlotte finally responded on Sunday. She doesn't give a damn. She doesn't.
Fair play.
She posted, I think, like, we're putting two and two together here a little bit, but it was almost certainly addressing the online discussion. She posted the Triple H, me and my friend Mark promo. Of course, that's the one he cut.
I'll go down well.
Yeah, that's the one he cut in July 2014. And it was kind of supposed to be like a jab at people complaining about WWE programming but tuning in anyway. The thing about that promo is that WWE's audience is less than half what it was. So the
Why
stuff...
did he do it?
Yeah, like it was the biggest own goal in Triple H's history, legitimately, because he said that and then the audience just went poof.
Okay,
so
I will
like,
turn it off then.
It's like, okay, sure. So it's like an interesting thing for Charlotte to post, right? Because the meaning of that promo has come to represent something else 9 years later. But Charlotte Flair, man, where'd you begin with analysing her situation?
Like, it's difficult because, like, I had it all figured out a couple of years back where my stock answer was, yes, it's annoying, yes, she can be annoying, but she would have everyone's best match. Then there was a period sort of like last year into early this year where you were like, she doesn't even have that. Now she's just automatically getting title matches and title reigns out left, right and centre, and they're just sort of going, right, we'll just rack this up and have you beat your dad's record effectively. Yeah. And then we were like, this really has gone off the rails. And then she had an absolute ripper with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. So there's a bit of me that's like, if you bring her back and she has a banger with Asuka, then fine.
And she puts her over.
Yeah, if this is a way to change up what you're doing with Bianca Belair, perhaps, because that's obviously was all wrapped into it, where Postman Pierce was like, don't worry, you're next in line. Wait a second, Charlotte Flair's here. But, yeah, it is a bit... Well, when she came back, I was sat there watching it, right, going... What do you do with her? Because you've had her come back and be like, yay, I'm back, I'm Charlotte Flair, and then she has a title reign. You've had her come back and be like, yay, I'm Charlotte Flair, and everyone goes, boo, and then she has a title reign. I feel like you need to do something different with that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, hopefully it's like you say, she comes back, puts over Asuka, and then it's like, and now we've got this completely other different thing for Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'd be really curious to learn what our viewers think of this whole situation. Like, let us know in the comment section. What would you do differently with Charlotte Flair? What do you think of her current, like, pathway, her, like, receiving these title shots and the perception that she just comes back and gets title shots and all this stuff? I think that a lot of, some people say some way harsh stuff about Charlotte Flair online, right? It's not her fault that she gets put in these spots. Like, look,
star.
Yeah, if I was her and they were like, hey, we're going to give you another cool thing, I'd be like, damn right, let's go. But yeah, let us know, like, what would you do differently? Because there is definitely a lot of fan backlash, whether she's playing face or heel. It's not her fault, and it's kind of a shame, in my opinion, in that regard. But yeah, chime in.
Absolutely. And I'll move on now from WWE to AEW. Frankie Kazarian was one of the first guys in their first ever tag team champion, of course.
They were the first act introduced at that press conference.
They were.
With Conrad.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now Frankie Kazarian, of course, is in Impact Wrestling. He's signed a multi-year deal. He left AEW in January and subsequently signed in a multi-year deal with Impact Wrestling. But he was talking on the Kurt Angle show.
Who's that?
If you like wrestling podcasts, it's one of the best ones out there, except for ours, of course. He's been talking about it. He said, I still had 2 years left on my contract when I left. It just became apparent to me that what I like and what I appreciate about pro wrestling and the way I like it presented was not happening at AEW, and that is not an indictment at them. It's just what they perceive as good television wrestling, and what I do are different things. He continued, I feel that I have so much more to offer than what I was being utilised for at AEW, so I bet on myself, and I made the decision to walk away, and I'm thankful I did. It's by far the best decision I could have made. Always love it when
for
people
him.
bet on themselves. Bet on yourself. And great things can happen. But, this isn't a dig necessarily at AEW. I think a fair few people, it can be said, kind of got lost in the shuffle when they started bringing more and more and more people in. Certainly sort of AEW originals, if you want to call them that. But yeah, Frankie Kazarian, there's a great interview with him on our channel with Simon Miller from a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to have a go at a wrestler when they do say, you know what? I could just sit here and collect a paycheck, but that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, like I always respect stuff like this.
Yeah.
This isn't representing what I want to do in the sport, so I'm going to try elsewhere. I think he said something else as well along the lines of, like, he had like 2 years left on this deal when he left, and he just signed a new one, and he was like, So that takes balls to walk away from guaranteed money in a guaranteed contract.
We know that TK, his strategy is, if you don't want to work, but you just still want to get paid, we'll utilise you in other ways, but we're never going to fire you.
Yeah, he's not out here like cutting people outside of extenuating circumstances.
Yes.
So if Frankie Kazarian goes, hey, I would like to explore other opportunities, fair play. I think SCU were utilised really well early in AEW for sure. First tag team champions. Those early trios matches were great as well. But like when they went separate, when they split up and everything else, and Frankie had his run as the Bullet Club Hunter, I can absolutely see where he's coming from.
Yes. It felt like it was an obvious storyline, and then he just lost to
he
Gallows.
was really over. Like, that's the thing people forget about the Bullet Club Hunter thing. He was not the Bullet Club Hunter, Elite Hunter.
That was
Sorry,
it,
I'm getting confused with Yoshitatsu. Sorry, Frankie. But this stuff was really over. Like, he was coming out in a largely popless era because it was still kind of in the throes of the pandemic.
Yeah.
In the hoodie, beating up the Elite, getting these pops, man. He was like over. And then it kind of didn't go anywhere. He lost, like you said, he lost to Doc Gallows.
Yeah, it felt like, oh, okay, I see where this goes. He beats everyone in the Elite, and he finally faces Omega was champion, and obviously, and it was like, just close, but doesn't obviously beat him. But it's a good sort of feud for them to have. And then it was like, okay, first sort of step on that road. Let's fight Gallows. Oh, you've lost.
Yeah, they kind of cut off the knees. But hey, like, I respect Frankie a lot.
Yeah,
and this is
good dude.
Good dude across the board. And thank you.
And if you want to see that video, by the way, check our old previous videos. You want to be notified whenever our new videos come out. Subscribe, ring the bell, and it'll pop up in your notifications.
Thank you so much for doing that. It really does help us. Appreciate you. Anyway, let's roll over to WWE again. Give an update on a WWE star's contractual status. Elias, what's going on with this chap? Well, no one seems to know is the thing. So Fightful Select have come out with a new report on this. And it was reported by some other outlets, like in late 2022, that Elias's contract was set to expire. Now, Elias has been on TV since then, so Fightful did some digging and went, hey, WWE, has this guy signed a new deal? What's going on? Has he signed an extension? No answer. Ooh. No word back. So I think this is pretty curious. This is a rope that's worth tugging on, I think. Elias was last on TV. It was the 15th of May episode of Raw. He's not been around since then. Not been on any house shows since then. He was in that Battle Royal. His last singles match was a squash loss to Omos.
Doing stuff with Boogs, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I remember.
As well. Like, he's been kind of farting around here and there and everywhere. But he's had a pretty sporadic year. I think, including house shows, he's only had like 12 matches or something like that. So, weird situation. Guy's 35. He's been in WWE since like 2014, something like that. Like, he's actually been in the company for quite a while when you think about it. We'll see what occurs with this gentleman. I've always thought he was kind of like a fun mid-card presence. Yeah. It's kind of a limited gimmick, but when it's been over, it's been really over.
Yeah, if something was one of those things that would be hugely over in the Attitude Era, for example, like it would have worked more back then, I feel. I'll be honest, I don't really care about Elias' contract. I want to know what's going on with Ezekiel's. That's all I care about.
No details on Ezekiel, unfortunately.
I think Elias is really one of those people, and we could make a 10-point list, probably people who suffered the sort of spiral that was, right, Triple H is in charge, actually Vince is in charge. Actually, it's mainly Triple H, but Vince still, gives his two penneth on a Monday evening, basically, before Raw. I think Elias has just been lost in all that. And I can genuinely believe that creative right now has nothing for him. But I hope they do eventually, because I'll never forget that him and Kevin Owens, I can't remember where they were, but getting booed for like 8 minutes straight just for saying, "Oh, this basketball team sucks."
Yeah, it's classic.
It's a fun gimmick, and the Ezekiel stuff, I'm not finished with that just yet.
Me up in it? Okay. All right. You Braun Strowmaning it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Right, let's bring you another update on AEW Fight Forever. It gets released at the end of this month, of course, on the 29th of June, and Fightful Select has done a big update on the game ahead of its release. A bit of a mixed bag. On the positive side of things, Fightful says that people who've already played it think it's going to be a success due to the playability and multiplayer aspects. You've probably seen loads of clips doing the rounds on social media. I know loads of stuff has been, I don't know whether it's been purposefully leaked or accidentally leaked on Twitter, but I've seen loads of the game with, skateboarding and fire extinguishers and blood and all that.
There's a lot of blood.
Yeah, there's loads of Easter eggs apparently in the game as well, including sized-based characters and weapons, but they're not all easy to find. And there is 2 finishers to the exploding barbed wire deathmatch stipulation, including one stunning, brutal explosion and a dud similar to Revolution 2021.
That's funny.
Mini games, of course, are part of it. Kenny Omega was very insistent. He played a key role in developing this game. Very insistent he included it. And in getting involved, the guy behind WWF No Mercy and WCW NWO Revenge. I'm going to mess this up.
Geta. Just call him Geta.
Geta, a.k.a. Hideyuki Iwashita.
I think so. I've never actually heard the name pronounced out loud.
The guy behind the fun games.
Hideyuki Iwashita, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Let us know. Correct us, because we are buffoons, as we've already established.
The Creation Street and Suite has been described as limited and not expansive. That's drawn a bit of internal criticism. And there's a bit of a complaint about story mode with repetitive clothing involved in other characters who feature in this mode. Look, there's been a lot of bad faith actors on this online, Andy, saying this doesn't look like actual television. But
whoa, a video game doesn't look like actual television.
But it's one of those where, for me, I think it comes down to the gameplay.
Yeah.
People weren't saying, for example, and I don't want to do what's better, this or this, although inevitably it's going to happen, right? People weren't saying, 2K glitches all the time, but it looks good.
Yeah, it's usual a lot of silly online stuff with this thing. I think that the 2K games are great, but the reasons that those games are great, AEW in their development should not be aiming to copy those games, right?
We've got that game.
Yeah, the Fight Forever should be good in a different way. 2K is great because it's a deeper simulation style of gameplay. The Creation Suite is insane. The stuff that people pump out there, some of the CAW creators are just really talented.
I was going to say, if you want to play as Kenny Omega, realistic Kenny Omega on a computer game, just get 2K and get someone who's done that.
Download him in the other companies.
Whereas this is all right, what if you wanted Chris Statlander to have a skateboard match with Darby Allin?
Yeah, this
should pop an ollie in the middle of it.
Exactly. They should be going for something different. They shouldn't be trying to copy 2K. So to me, comparing the two and using that as a way of going, well, this sucks because it's not that, is kind of not the best way to approach this. For me, the best version of Fight Forever is a fun, just simple, addictive arcade experience that's a little bit silly.
Yeah.
So if it can scratch that itch, for me, I'd be very happy with that. I've got the simulation, the deep, complex creation, the story mode, all that stuff over here. Give me just some silly arcade over here, and I'll be happy.
Can you throw Molotov cocktails in this game?
I hope so.
I believe I read that, although that might be a John Moxley Easter egg or something. I guarantee there's going to be a press X to bleed as John Moxley in that game.
It's a shortcut, just boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
That is quite funny though that they've put the 2 finishes in for the barbed wire deathmatch.
I appreciate that they're not just going, no, that never happened. Yeah. They just.
And as far as some of the concerns go, repetitive clothing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still not finished Spider-Man, Andy. I'm never going to get around to
Miles
it.
Morales? Or?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
The first one. No spoilers, guys. Don't tell me what happens. But yeah, don't try and be the second best copy of something else. Be the first original best you.
Inspiration.
That's right. I'm coming for Jake Humphrey's spot now he's left BT Sport.
Eat it, Jake.
Nice of him to make the Champions League final. All about him. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions.
More effort than the Man City fans at the final whistle.
WhatCulture WWE on Twitter. And on our YouTube community page as well. Shout out to Stephen Maltz, who gives us our first question of the day. Cheers, Stephen, who writes, with the news that Rush has severed any contractual connections in Mexico, who would you guys like to see him face at Forbidden Door?
Big Tom. There you go.
Whoa.
There's still a bit of doubt over whether or not Rush will make the show, even following the news of his AAA contract and him and his dad quitting or whatever the details of it were. But like him and Big Tom would just kick so much ass.
Yeah.
Like Tomohiro Ishii, for those of you who maybe don't understand my stupid nicknames I use for people, it's kind of perfect because Roosh is such a psychopath and an asshole and a crazy man. Big Tom
kind of lost his way a bit, didn't he? And then he came. I just realised, I'll just stop killing people.
This is the Roosh story in a lot of ways. Sometimes you'll watch him and go, is this guy even trying? Yeah. And then you'll have like the Bryan Danielson match. You'll be like, oh, he's the best wrestler alive.
Beat the piss out of Jungle Boy the other week as well.
Yeah, he's a brutal bugger. And Big Tom is the most sympathetic bowling ball in the world. So there you go.
Really hope Jose the assistant's on the AEW.
I hope he takes his shirt off.
Yeah, press X to take your shirt off.
Everyone's got a special move. John Moxley bleeds. Jose the assistant takes his shirt off. Matt Hardy owns a contract, or someone else
talk gibberish on television. Toriano. I just want to see Toriano on the card, so I'm getting him in one way or another. I'll just consider every single time you suggest someone, I'm going to say Toriano.
Imagine how angry Roosh would be wrestling.
I don't want to buy your DVD, mate.
Yano needs to be on the show. Yes. They messed up last year.
Yeah, like you say, there's the obvious like Orange Cassidy side of things. You want to do that? I don't think they're going to do that. But yeah, someone like even if you just go Jericho, him pitching a fit like just no, I'm the one who cheats. Like oh my god. Daddy Magic Jericho. I talked myself into it, guys.
There you go. Jericho Appreciation Society versus Chaos. Yano and some mates. There you go. Boom, boom.
Awesome.
Shake the room.
Mark Lee Willis gives us our second question of the day. Cheers, as always, for getting in touch, Mark. Although I think it's best all round for everyone involved to amicably sort things out for the betterment of AEW, is it not fair to expect CM Punk to apologise in the ring/scrum as surely, Mark's made a good point here, surely it has to be as loud as the disrespect. I can't remember who said that, Andy. It's not going to happen, is it?
It's not going to happen. He's a very headstrong, pardon me, stubborn man. That's part of what makes him him. Should he apologise? Well, does he think he was in the wrong? Is the first question. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. So, me personally, if I was in the shoes of the, I'm being diplomatic again. This is a
very
new
good.
Week. If I'm in the shoes of the Elite, and I'm Kenny Omega.
Careful, they might explode.
Yeah.
You're in their shoes.
Well, there you go, exploding Jordans, baby. I'm sitting there, this guy just starts saying I can't manage to target, all of this stuff.
Not shared his muffin.
Yeah, and then they go to the locker room and did they barge him? Like, various words have been used.
I'm sick of this story.
Me too, man. And like, I tried to get Larry out or whatever Kenny did, and I got bit by this guy's mate, and he punched my mate.
Oh, Larry's biting me. Wait a second, that's a human.
I think it is very reasonable for those people to expect an apology, 100%.
And I think it's very reasonable for that CM Punk should get an apology from them because it's their fault. There you go, balance. Balance.
I will say, as always, because I don't want to be interpreted as some person like culture warring here.
No.
Because it's the Elite fans versus CM Punk fans a lot of the time. I'm a fan of both of them. I really like CM Punk's work. I'm glad he's going to be back on television, but also did some bad stuff. So I think the Elite are very entitled to expect some kind of recourse.
And I will always be grateful to CM Punk because he's the reason I don't have to watch AEW Rampage anymore. So. Thanks.
One more week. Oh no,
that's
you're
it.
off.
I'm
you're
done.
off.
I've finished. And what
Daniel.
an episode of Rampage it was on Friday. That sure was an episode of Rampage. WhatCulture Wrestling Podcast.
It was 1 hour long. I haven't watched it yet, actually. I took a couple of days off, and I was like, wrestling detox.
That's me on Wednesday, baby.
Yeah.
Holiday Terry detox. All the way.
Terry loves yogurt.
Right, final question today comes from Ernest Guka, who says, hey, was recently playing Monopoly with friends and wondered, could you do a wrestling-style Monopoly board? All major promotions, pay-per-view included, and weekly TV shows.
Oh, man.
Tell you what, you're going to have more than one go to jail. Put a square on that.
Go to jail, go to WCW.
I think that could be fun, though, couldn't it?
That's great. Like, you could have Titan Towers as a place. You could have Daly's place, like various other Madison Square Garden.
Chance and community chess could be interesting.
Oh, man, that's a great idea. I would 100% buy that.
Some wrestlers of yours have fought backstage following a press scrum. Take 6 pieces off the board. What?
You land on the Tokyo Dome spot, but if you don't have 5 stars, you go back to the beginning. There's so much you could do.
I tell you what, in the comments section, right, here's one for you. what's Park Lane, and more importantly, possibly, what's Old Kent Road?
Is that the cheapest and the most expensive?
I think so, or Mayfair, I don't know. It's been years since I've played Monopoly. I'm absolutely goated at Monopoly, though.
Oh.
I take no prisoners. Petty cash gang right here.
Oh, I steal your money, mate.
I'll be the banker.
I just go, hi. Cheers, mate.
What have you got there, Andy? I've just signed a new TV deal, so I'll be taking half of this.
Hey. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's
the last bit, isn't it?
Yeah, we're done so.
Bye.
See you later.